The coping and seething in the ComicsGate circles is just getting out of control now. It seems like everybody's kind of just noticed that this movement is completely falling apart. And it's because of the behavior of Ethan Van Sciver, Shane Davis, and John Malin just being so disgusting that nobody really wants to be around it who's like a normal person at this juncture. They're left with a few pay pigs who are getting bilked for $200 plus just to try to drum up a score of a current Cyberfrog book that's never going to come out again. And there's not a lot left to go around for other creators anymore. It used to be a flourishing movement. Back in 2018, there were people just creating comics, making things. We were part of that at the time. And once these guys kind of co-opted it and took it over with the Marvel and DC antics that they brought over from those companies when this was supposed to be an independent sort of group, it just kind of fell apart over the years. And as it started falling apart, Ethan Van Sciver just started getting worse and worse and worse, trying to attack his fellow indie creators and turning his entire channel to an anti-Rippaverse nonsense, where it's just like anybody says anything positive about Eric July, they'll cancel you, right? And so this is where the absolute state is at, and they're just trying to circle the wagons really hard at this point with just outright nonsense that nobody with any kind of brain believes at this point. And I'm going to cover what Mandy said today because it's really, really funny at this juncture. Let's get into the news and talk about real comics, my friends. I am a comic creator myself, and what I've noticed, and as I'm going to talk about here, is that webcomics, a lot of it is really a lot healthier of a place than Marvel and DC comic shop model. And so I started posting as webcomics on Substack, Flying Sparks, just to get everybody caught up on my series as we build a beautiful new network where we are actually about readers here. And you just get comics every single day. And this is what reading's all about. And this is really what you're getting on like Webtoon or Tapas and the like. People post their comic books all the time. Here's some newly released originals. A lot of it's manga oriented and looking like right here. And you can see they just they're built for phones. They're built for modern sort of things, and they build huge audiences really, really fast on here. Because Webtoon is a giant thing that millions of views every single month. And so I'm doing this over on Substack. It's more of a free speech platform, and I like that here. And I'm also posting less like mobile-friendly stuff. I'm doing things in the classic comic page format because I like to print my comic books. So this is a great spot to be. So sign up here. There's exclusives. I just did a How to Comic script, breaking the story down and pacing video yesterday as part of the exclusives. We've also got 2 exclusive comics going in Extrasensory and Astromancer. All this material is also available on my Subscribestar. I've got it on a couple different platforms. That's how we're building out, and we're building better, my friends. Get in on this in the description below. Thank you for being real comics fans. We've got a great Discord of comic book enthusiasts and the like as well. Over 1,000 people strong, and we're just growing and growing and growing over here while these guys kind of just like are losing their audience, which is pretty funny. Now, ComicsGate's taken to blocking everybody who has any sort of difference of opinion on anything at all. Now, I've always been just pretty nice to Mandy Summers over the years. You guys have probably seen it because, again, when people are just nice and don't attack me, I don't really, go at them or anything like that. It's just called being a nice person. And that's what I typically do. ComicsGate went really far. Ethan Van Sciver started circling the wagons, trying to attack me and my business because, I was doing things without his approval. You have to just be a little cookie cutter like Marvel and DC guy who's like making 20 variant covers on Indiegogo, and that's it. If you're in the Ethan Van Sciver camp at this point, and that's it. And so we try to do things different. We try to innovate. He doesn't want people to find that, and so he actually went around with John Malin and encouraged everybody and all of these people to go block me, and that's exactly what they did. Like I said, never had a negative interaction with Mandy or anything like that. Just was a part of this like crowd that's like. Of course, trying to circle the wagons here. Now, it's really, really weird around ComicsGate. We see just how much like they are just trying to push at this juncture with these narratives. And here's what they claim now. Here's what's going on. AntiCG's goal is to destroy ComicsGate. Well, I'll stop right there. Like there are some people like that, and that's why I don't really identify as a group called AntiCG. What I noticed is there's like the ComicsGate group and then the anti-ComicsGate group who really is ComicsGate group, and they just want to, and they're all part of the same ecosystem right there. That's all just trying to, attain clout within this 2,000 people structure at this juncture. I don't play it by any of those rules. I just do my own thing, make my own comics, and report on what's going on in the comic book industry and independent comics. They say by isolating Ethan Van Sciver from other creators by harassing them. threatening them, and guilt by association. What's interesting is this is exactly what Ethan Van Sciver's done to me, to Doug TenNapel, to Mike S. Miller, to Eric July, to Yellow Flash. Anybody who does not do things within his approval structure, he sicks his people on with their little live stream audience. It gets a big pile-on going on Twitter or X or YouTube or whatever it is that day, and then isolates them, and then the people around them get very, very scared because they don't want to be canceled and on the chopping block as well. I've talked to several of his little ComicsGate Kings group, and they don't like it. Most of them are actually opposed to what's going on, but they fear that there's no other way out, and they don't want to be canceled as well. They know that people who are supporting their books and the like are not there reading their books for them. They know that it's just because it's Ethan Van Sciver's little personal army, and they don't want to mess up any of the funds that are coming in. Now, it's been dropping. Of course, all these books have about half the backers they did this time last year. It's been a big disaster for everybody, and it's going to be getting worse very, very soon. And that's what's happening, and that's exactly why they're circling the wagons like this, trying to do damage control at this juncture. They use the same methods as mainstream SJWs used it on Ethan in the past. Again, this is classic projection that's going on right here. All of us experience this to some level, especially if you have a successful project. Now, again, Mandy, ironically, joined in the Block JDA SJW mob that John Malin led up with this when I'd never had any problem. And, even though I defended her in the past, especially like when things were coming down last year, that didn't amount to anything. She went full with the cancel mob here. So this is all lying and projecting going on from ComicsGate. This is exactly what they do. They mob up in their they've got billions of DM groups. What Ethan Van Sciver sets up, by the way, is he's got his Kings DM group, his general ComicsGate DMs group. He's got another secret DMs group, and he tiers people to where he just wants them to be in terms of what he views them as and what he views their success level should be within the group. It's a really weird controlling structure. And this is what he did with that war campaign group before as well. They had secret discords within secret discords. I actually mock it in my discords. I have a group where I actually I mock it, but anybody can get into it. That's the joke about it. You just have to click the button. And so that's how they've set things up. It is actually a whisper network that is going on within ComicsGate, just like in the mainstream comic industry. There is a confirmed whisper network of Alex DeCampi and Heather Antos and all of these people that try to gatekeep the comic book industry for the leftists. It's the same thing, and this makes a lot of sense. Ethan Van Sciver came from this structure, so he set up this same structure because it's all he's ever known, and that's exactly what's going on here now. And it's getting smaller and tighter and smaller and tighter as they cancel more and more people just for noticing what's going on. Now, again, over here, our goal is not to destroy anything like that. We just want our goal here, and what my movement's all about is one, creating comics and being extremely artistic, and building a actual art community with patrons of the art system, because that's the healthy way to do things. On the other front, we are supporting Christians and conservatives, and we want Christianity and conservatism in culture to be a success. And because we have actual values for what we're doing and what we're building with our movement here, you can't co-opt it. You can't change it. You can't mess with it. It can't be one thing from one day to the next. It's just always going to be the exact same thing. Because, if you don't keep it very in line like that, this is what happens, right? It changes. So as far as they go, I hate to be the one to break the bad news, and this is where it gets hilarious. ComicsGate is why 99% of indie comics were successful. Oh my gosh, this is what these people do, by the way. They act like they invented crowdfunding. Now, crowdfunding comics has been going on for a long, long time, and it still goes on. And actually, most 99% of comics that are successful are just here on Kickstarter. Here's Xenoscope, who's been doing it for decades. Got about 20 grand on this comic book here. And it's a smaller comic book as well. They've had bigger campaigns, so I've seen that. This is, let's see, we've got a slice of life deal, which is, what's this? My girlfriend joins the softball team. That's never a good thing, because when your girlfriend joins oh no, it's a lesbian comic. Oh, terrible. Well, there's all sorts of things up and down on this, but this is independent comics. You'll find stuff you like. This is a great one right here. Neurobellum Productions does amazing work. I've loved almost all of their books. Ogreist right here got 20K already going on right here as well. And, I just interviewed Girl Genius. Now, Girl Genius has been making webcomics since 2001. This is on my Fandom Pulse Substack. You can read it today. And they have Kickstarters ranging from $200,000 to $400,000 that have been going since like 2010. So it's like, again, none of this stuff has to do with ComicsGate. ComicsGate is not even a blip on people's radar. Now, Patrick Thomas Parnell actually went to Miami Comic-Con this last weekend and reported that like nobody even knew what ComicsGate was there. They don't even know it exists. So most of the independent comic scene, of which 99% of it doesn't know ComicsGate exists. It's maybe 1%, and that's probably being generous. On top of that, we've got like all these Kickstarter projects. You got some good stuff. You got some bad stuff, of course, but that's the same thing as ComicsGate. There's some good artists in there, and there's some bad artists in there, and you can get pretty much anything you want over here. White Ash is a really good book. Actually, I've read this one. This is pretty solid. Look, they've got 1,000 backers for it. Why? Because they're a solid book that's been going for a while. And that's exactly what you can expect as you go over to things. Then you got Eric July's camp, and that's not even getting into Webtoon. Now, Webtoon, like I said, gets millions and millions of views every single day. These are all just indie people just doing it themselves. Most of them, just build Patreons for themselves, and people get on those Patreons and do things like that. That's exactly why we're rebuilding the model on Substack right here. Because it's a lot easier. Now, you can read it for free like you can on Webtoon, and if you want to support and be a patron, you can get a paid membership, get some of the exclusives, and also, of course, build our little comic fiefdom here that's going on. Get in on this in the description below, as I said. That's a lot. That's 99% of webcomics is through, and the indie comic industry is through all of this stuff, guys. ComicsGate is such a small blip, it doesn't matter. You have to build your own audience and do things differently, and it's just a bunch of people living off of one guy's audience at this point. And that's really why it's a big house of cards, where they're all so scared they're making narratives like this at this point because they know it's collapsing. Anti-CGers are angry and miserable. They don't back books, or those particular creators wouldn't be suffering a 60 to 75% drop in sales. Now, we've shown by the numbers, again, that ComicsGate is suffering a 60 to 75% drop in sales. This is the biggest projection I've maybe ever seen. Their angry tweets and threats don't help anyone's books funds, and neither does ComicsGate. ComicsGate is amazing. ComicsGate is love. ComicsGate is indie comics. Like, again, like, wow, circling this wagon pretty hard right now. Peter Gilmore, another guy who, like, only been friendly with this guy before, but John Malin told him, you want to talk about a whisper network? They completely lie, all of them. Only been friendly with this guy, but he was obviously instructed to block me, right? So the thing is, all these morons, when it comes down to it, they're just looking out for number one. They may band together from time to time. This is, again, ComicsGate in a nutshell. So self-centered, so damaging, so butthurt. That crowd is simply united by hate. And that's all again, the projection is so hard here. If one of them liked the wrong person or didn't hate someone the majority hated, they'd be left out. This is it. This is what Ethan Van Sciver lives off of. If he tells you to hate somebody, you have to. Again, I mean, the evidence is these two right here joining in the block campaign after John Malin told everybody they had to block me, right? This is pretty funny. There's no loyalty or true friendships there. Exactly what it is. Now, Richard Embry saw this also. He was friends with Katie Did of the ComicsGate group as well. And the minute he just like went afoul of Ethan Van Sciver, she just started railing on him as an independent creator, just abandoned their friendship. He tried to talk to her, tried to dial it down. They refuse. These people will never talk. They'll never dial down. Everything this is just classic projection, and it's falling apart at a massive rate, and that's the only reason you make these big, long-winded defensive posts like this, is if it's falling apart. And we're winning, and it's really great to watch our community grow, to watch everything build. I saw a very funny one. This was great. This is how mad these people are, and just the amount of cope. I saw this yesterday. They did a poll earlier this evening. John Delarose claimed that he sold more books this year than the creators in ComicsGate. Since Edwin Boyette has not crunched these numbers, one can only speculate. Does John's claim seem like they're running polls about how much I'm selling? And pretty funny. I said your cope poll is cope. This is my ebooks and audiobooks showing over 3,000 sales just there. Doesn't track my print sales through Ingram, online web store, or my crowdfunds, which have moved about 1,500 more books. So I'm sitting at about 4,500 books sold on the years, and I don't really have a new release out yet. I've been just crunching away, just trying to get all these things done. I don't put up crowdfunds or anything like that until they're done, because I respect you guys, and unlike ComicsGate, right? That's the difference here. And so you guys are such jokes. It's funny how you blindly hate. Again, this is what it is. And think there's nothing outside of CG. Somebody says, great job. As I said, the poll was cheeky. I did zero research, and so there it is. So what is it? It was far below Cecil's. Do you believe a campaign of yours this year would fare better? I suppose we'll find out. Again, I'm doing great. I don't just rely on Fund My Comic. It is but one avenue. And diversifying is how you build a sustainable business. That's it. That's the deal, and that's exactly what we're doing around here, my friends. So this is a big cope all the way around. Like I said, they're circling the wagons here because it is falling apart, and they're so mad that we're building. It's really funny as well. So get in on this Substack, guys. Get here today. It's so important. You can read for free, just so you're there, which is important because, again, I'm building readers. Get in our Discord so we actually are united in a spot where we can actually talk without being performative and the like. And, of course, if you want to do a paid subscription or get on Subscribestar, these two places are great because we're changing the business models. I also have an online bookstore where all of my print books are. If you prefer those, this is the way we go. And there's lots of ways to of course, check things out and to read. And it's for everybody. That's, again, what real businesses do. They don't just kind of funnel everybody into one spot so they can keep control over it. That's a failed sort of business that's actually really, really dropping off. That's what ComicsGate is. Thanks, guys, for being here. What do you think about this? Do you think 99% of comics are ComicsGate? Hilarious. These echo chambers are ridiculous. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back.